Hi friends, thanks for tuning into my channel. For today's video, I'll be taking you with me on my quest to find the best blowout method for me and my hair. Are you ready? Let's go! So this time around, I'm going to start by taking down these two very large flat twists that I wore in order to let my hair air dry. I had washed and deep conditioned my hair about 2 or 3 days prior to this. So I was hoping that it would be completely dry and semi-stretched so that it could make the blowout process a little bit easier. Unfortunately, my hair was not completely dry. At the roots, it was still a good bit damp. So at this point, I am just going through and separating my hair into sections. Separating it into sections always makes whatever I'm trying to do with my hair seem a little bit easier to accomplish. If I had tried to go at it all at once, I would have quit before I really began. So I'm separating into sections. I had detangled my hair very well before putting it into these two twists. So for the most part, all I'm going to really do here is finger detangle a little bit and separate the hair into sections to prepare for the next step. And since the ends of the hair are pretty much completely dry, in order to make sure that I don't tear the hair while trying to comb through it and use the dryer, I used a little water and aloe vera juice that was in the yellow spray bottle. And then I'm also using the Silk Elements Heat Protectant. So at this point, I am just kind of taking that back section and dampening it with the water and aloe vera juice mix, doing a little bit more finger detangling and adding the Silk Elements Heat Protectant. Now, I'm being very generous with this heat protectant because the hair is pretty much dry at the ends. So we're going to see a little bit later how that affected the blowout as a whole. So now I'm using my large tooth comb and I'm just combing through to make sure there are no hidden tangles or any hair that are going to prohibit my process. I'm using this new ionic brush. It's supposed to help to smooth the ends and help to take some of the frizziness away. So I know it's moving pretty quickly, but hopefully you can see how I'm trying to use this brush and this flat iron together. And it does look like it took some of the hard curls out of the bottom, out of the ends of the hair. But yeah, it's quite a little process for me. So I'm trying to get the hang of holding the brush in the blow dryer at the same time. So I'm done with that side, and this is what we have. So at this point, it's about 1:30 in the morning, and I'm sure you can see the bags under my little eyes. I'm pretty exhausted at this point, and plus it's hot. The heat of the dryer is exhausting. And I always underestimate how much hair I actually have. So yeah, I was about fit to be tired at this point. Anyway, so I'm on the second side, and I was showing you a moment ago that I used the dryer on the medium heat level, and I also used it on the medium level for the force of the blow. So by the time we get to this second session, I'm totally over trying to hold that brush and trying to hold this dryer at the same time. You can see the oil spots all over the dryer, which made it harder to hold the dryer because my hands were slippery. Too much going on. So anyhow, now we're done. We're completely done with the drying process. And my main goal with this at this point was to get the roots to be dry and stretch it out enough to flat iron. So I actually contemplated at this point whether I wanted to quit here and just wear the big blowout look. At this point, it's about 2 a.m. and I'm tired and I'm hot. But I stopped and drank some water and I got my second wind and I decided I would go ahead and use the flat iron. So here I'm actually using a Paul Mitchell ceramic smoothing flat iron. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But it's a really great flat iron. I just think I need to learn how to use it well. Anyway, so right now at this point, I am going through and breaking up each section. I'm combing through once or twice with the comb. There are no tangles at this point. And I'm going through with the flat iron. Now, the desire is usually to only have to do one pass, meaning that you're only pulling the hot flat iron through your hair one time. I was not successful at doing that. One pass wasn't getting it straight enough for me, especially at the ends. But what I found really as I went through was that no matter how many times I pulled the flat iron through, the ends weren't really getting as straight as I wanted them to get. So there's some other things I have to figure out, and hopefully I'll be able to accomplish that the next time I try. So anyway, back to this attempt. I'm going through, as you can see, and I am pulling the flat iron through. And there were a couple of times when I got to the very end where I saw little strands of hair that were just hanging. So you'll see that as I went through and flat ironed a couple of these pieces, I went and I grabbed my trimming scissors so that I could trim those little pieces off. I can imagine that those are basically little pieces of hair that I missed a few weeks prior when I had trimmed my hair. So at this point, I am done with one side and I've begun on the next side. So I stopped spraying and spraying and spraying that heat protectant, and what I started doing was just putting it in my hands and doing the praying hands method and pulling it through to make sure that all of the hair was saturated and going from there. You'll see that I pulled out my oldie but goodie Conair curling iron. When I got to this side on the right, it was, really, 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 really curly and crinkly at the roots. And I wasn't really able to get to the roots the way I wanted to with the flat iron. So I was attempting to try to get them with the curling iron, but that wasn't really cutting it. But I tried. I really tried. So I'm going through here and finishing up these last few sections.
Alright, so I'm finally done. I flat ironed. I used the curling iron a little to get the roots because I'm really not like super great yet at using the flat iron to get the roots. And because my hair is so thick, the only way for me to really get the roots straightened would be for me to take it very small section by section. And it just, it would take forever because I guess I'm not that fast with it and my hair is really thick. And I was already doing multiple passes with the flat iron and then sometimes using the curling iron too to pull through to get it straight. And I have like really good tools. Like my flat iron is the Paw Mitchell Pro Tools Express Smooth. It's supposed to be, one of the better ones to use. They use them in salons. Clearly, they do some other things that I haven't mastered yet because, I wanted to get it straight, but I knew I wasn't going to get it bone straight. I started out trying to use the brush and pull it through with the dryer and all of that, and it's just a lot. And I always underestimate how much hair I actually have and how long it's going to take. I just haven't gotten yet where I can get it really, really straight really quickly. It takes a really long time, even when I am doing larger sections. So I don't know. I'm cool with this. I will probably, do some cute little styles that I normally wouldn't be able to do. Well, I would be able to do with my hair curly, but it did look a little bit different with my hair straight. My hair has only been straightened like once or twice a year, so it's used to being curly. So anyway, now I do want to try using the InStyler. I don't have one, and I do want to purchase one because I'm curious to see if the combination of the heat and then the bristles of the brush on the InStyler will straighten my hair better. Because, you know, that was the purpose of trying to use the barrel brush and the heat at the same time. But it's just a lot. And then the stuff is oily because I'm using the heat protectant. After like maybe 2 or 3 sections on the first side of doing that, I put the brush down. And then I started kind of, when I was finished with everything, because, you know, I normally can't brush or comb my hair straight through when it's curly. I was kind of, you know, going through with the brush. And it does seem like maybe the brush does kind of smooth the ends, which are a little frizzy. But I really don't want to pass the brush through it a whole lot, even with it straight, because my ends are still, you know, they're trying to curl. Like, my ends are still trying to curl. So I don't want to tear the ends by brushing them more. It's not necessary. I mean, they don't have to be perfectly straight for what I want to do with it. Also, what I did, I trimmed my hair the last time I washed it. When I did the color, which I did a little color in the front, and then I did a little in the back, just so that, you know, whenever I wear it up, you can see a little bit of the color. In the back, I used the Shea Moisture Bright Auburn, and it turned out really well, I thought. One thing I love about natural hair is that it's not about like perfection. It's not about having completely neat, you know, and just meticulous anything. You know, you can have color, or you can wear your hair up in a bun or a puff, and you can slick it back and make it look really nice and neat and tight, or you can wear it messy. That's one of the things that I love about natural hair. So anyway, back to the whole blowing out straightening process. It's a lot for me, and I don't mind my hair being curly. So I think it's going to be cool though, because I very rarely wear it straight, to do a couple of little, you know, styles and stuff with it that I miss the look of doing with straight hair. But because it's my blowout and my hair still has some volume to it, you know, it'll still give it a little life. So have to be up and ready to go out by 7 a.m. So I'm gonna hopefully remember in a few hours when I get up, and I'm all dressed, makeup done, and I've chosen a style for the day to take some pictures so I can finally finish this blowout vlog. Good night.
So to preserve the blowout, I pulled all of my hair up to the top of my head and secured it into a very loose bun. In order to keep the edges smooth and protect them, I tied a satin scarf around the perimeter. And voila, this is what we had a few hours later. I enjoyed this. It was fun, and I'm still enjoying the blowout. So I'll see you next time for Blowout Chronicles, where we will be trying to discover what is the best methods for blowing out my hair. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you still haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe right now. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.